Hi everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. Just give me a minute and we'll get live on the Facebook group as well. Okay, I think that's starting, so I think we can get started. There might be a bit of a delay if you're watching on Facebook. There we go, it says I'm live now. All right everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. It's Saturday morning and I'm here I'm going to show you another one of the online exclusives called Frosted Forest. So this is a stamp and die bundle plus decorative masks. And if you've watched me before, you know, but I love to play with decorative masks and my blending brushes. All right, so I didn't tell you, so you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com, and I go live on Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, and share projects with you. So hopefully you're joining me, and if not, you can watch on the replay. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel so that you can get notified when I go live. And it's quite possible that you're out and about on a beautiful Saturday. It's very hot here on the West Coast. And it is a long weekend, so I know lots of people have things going on the weekends, particularly when it's a long weekend. We're celebrating BC Day here in British Columbia, but I think every province has a different celebration for this weekend. All right, so if you are watching me on YouTube, I see that there's comments on Facebook. That's great. Somebody commented after my last live that they couldn't make comments on YouTube. So if you're watching me on YouTube, give me the thumbs up and let me know and make a comment so I know that you can actually do that, because I'm not sure what's going on. I tried to check all the settings. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my desktop and we will get started on this card. This is a great bundle for masculine cards, but it's kind of a fun bundle because it's got some sentiments for, thinking of you, birthday wishes, thank you, and then just one that says, no beauty shines brighter than that of a good heart. You can do it for Christmas, use it for Christmas cards. Look at that lovely bird. And then there are dies that will cut out the stamped images, as well as, get them out here, and some images to cut leaves for the big tree, and then of course some texture for your evergreens. This is a really pretty one. It kind of goes across the bottom of a piece of cardstock, and then you have the outlines for the evergreen trees, for that deciduous tree, and then the trunk, and then you actually have two bird dies that you can use to cut the birds out. So it's a really nice set of dies. Now, I'm not using the dies today because the other thing that comes besides the stamp and die bundle, my dies away, are these decorative masks. So there are 6 decorative masks, 3 for the deciduous tree. Hey, Amanda. And then 3 that will allow you to add lots of detail to your stamped images, or not, for the evergreen trees. So I'm not using those ones today. I'm going to use this big stamped image. So we're going to do that first. Not that. I'm going to grab a piece of grid paper. And I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to you can use a Post-it note. Hey, Hazel, welcome. Okay, so I'm going to just use a piece of Post-it note tape to adhere this piece of basic white down onto my grid paper. And then you have the 3 dies. Now I'm going to cut this out using the largest of this nested essential die when I get it done. So I want to make sure that I get it in the middle, and they are numbered. Just had to find it's on the other side. They're numbered 1 to 3, and so typically you start with number 1, and I'm just going to make sure that I get it roughly centered. So I'm putting that decorative mask down. And I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to use my Post-it note tape, but I'm also going to mark this grid paper with a notch and just a couple of the corners. And that just allows me, when I bring in masks 2 and 3, it just helps me to get them lined up. You don't need you could just use the notch, but I find adding in the corners helps. And I also find adding in a piece of Post-it note or Post-it note tape or something like that will help me, it keeps it in place. Okay, so I'm using these 3 colors: Pecan Pie for the trunk, Mossy Meadow, and Granny Apple Green for the leaves. So we're going to start with the trunk. And when I use my my blending brush, I'm going to pick up some ink and I'm going to tap off. And then I'm just going to start lightly going over the mask, the opening in my mask. And you can go as light or as dark with this as you want. So I'm going to clearly go a little darker than I was thinking because I kind of have a dark spot at the top, but that's okay. And it doesn't all have to be the same, because if you look at tree trunks, they're not completely the same color all the way. So there's my tree trunk done, and it's kind of, it almost looks watercolor based on the light and dark. So you can take a baby wipe, or you could just use just spritz it with some water afterwards, but I'm just going to take a baby wipe and clean it off, just to show you how nicely these masks will clean up. Okay, so that's number 1 down, and I'm going to put my piece of paper, which I clearly has come out of my, when I nicely put a piece of Post-it note tape on. So let's put our decorative mask down in place. So we know where that goes, because clearly I messed up on pulling off my piece of basic white. I'm going to just take this decorative mask, put my piece of paper behind it. So here's a trick: if you kind of lose your place and it comes apart, put your decorative mask back over and then line up with your notches that you made. Take that mask off and then put some more Post-it note tape on, and this time I'm going to put 2 pieces on. So now I can now take this and reline it up. So match the notch, match your corners that you drew on. And now we're going to stamp using Granny Apple Green. So this is going to be the lighter, hopefully the somewhat lighter of the 2. And then we'll add some more detail to this. So this is Granny Apple Green. It will be quite bright, so I'm going to try and go quite light and not press too hard. Again, doesn't matter if you have some light and dark spots on here, because when you look at trees and the leaves, they don't look consistent. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so that's our Granny Apple Green. And now let's bring our Mossy Meadow in. And again, just going to wipe my mask off. Just a baby wipe, keeps it nice and clean. And then the last mask, so there's only 3 to this. For some of them, like the Layers of Beauty and the, what was another one, something beauty, Enduring Beauty, I think it was called. There is definitely more masks to use. I think there's 5 in the Layers of Beauty, but there's just 3. Okay, so now we're going to use Mossy Meadow, and we're going to go over and just add some darker sections. And you don't have to think about this, because the concept artist who created this has done all the thinking for us. You just have to color in, and I'm going to leave some lighter and some darker. And clean that off like that. Okay, so there's my masks cleaned off so I can reuse them the next time. And take the Post-it note tape off, put my grid paper away, and now I can take and use my, and hopefully I can get this, there we go. So I didn't quite get it in the center, but that's okay. I think I have enough room. So I'm just going to use a piece of Post-it note tape for that. Yeah, I think I've got room. And I'm just going to take it and cut it on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss, which is over on the side. Save that piece of basic white because I need a piece for sentiment. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? Just, I love the detail. Just a beautiful tree that you cut. Okay, so now let's take and bring our other pieces in. So I'm using Mossy Meadow cardstock for the base. And my paper trimmer, and so this is 4 1/4 by 11, so we'll score it at 5 1/2. And as always, grab your bone folder and fold into the mountain or the raised line and give it a good burnish. And then I pulled a piece of this is the Iconic Celebration or Iconic Imagery Designer Series paper that is one of the online exclusives as well. There's a bundle. This paper is really pretty. It's got all sorts of different designer series paper for all sorts of different seasons, including Christmas and fall and even Valentine's. There's some hearts. But I really love this Mossy Meadow stripes. So I'm going to just use that as my base. So I cut this 4 inches by 5 1/4. So it's been fun to play with this Forever Forest bundle. My friend Lorraine, who lives in New Hampshire in the United States, and I are doing we're calling it Triple Your Creativity. And so we did one earlier this year using Sketch Butterfly. And so it's a 3-month club where you commit to 3 months, and over the course of 3 months, in the first month, you get the bundle. So there's I think it's $65 per month local and $70 mailed. So in the first month, you get the bundle and then 4 make and takes using the Frosted Forest bundle. And then in the second month, you get the designer series paper and the embellishments. And then in the last month, you get the ribbon that we're using. And if you sign up and pay for all 3 months before we get started, we will send you, hey Lynn, welcome, a package of the small blending brushes for you to use with your masks. If you don't have blending brushes, you can use, let's get that one lined up. You can use sponges, sponge daubers, whatever works for you, but the blending brushes are so amazing. So this starts in September. Registration is by the end of September, and the payment for at least the first month is due. Sorry, I said September, end of August, getting mine mixed up. End of August is the registration, and payment is due for at least the first month. So if you're interested in this bundle with the designers or with the stamp set, the dies, and the decorative masks, this is a great way to get it. Okay, so I need a sentiment. So where's my stamp set? Hiding on me. So I think I'm going to use the thank you sentiment because I always need thank you cards, and it's really little. So I'm just going to use this little piece of basic white cardstock that I cut off. It's 1/2 inch, and I'm going to stamp it color shall I stamp it in? I think I'm going to stamp in Pecan Pie. I'm not sure why, but it seems to call to me. I always like using all my little bits of, yep, okay, so I'm going to cut this. And I'm just going to do banner ends or tag ends, fishtail ends in that 1/2 inch piece. I think I've left enough room. There we go. Yeah. Okay, don't need that anymore. And I do need some dimensionals. Let's use the mini dimensionals. I've said this before. I have a hard time with the mini dimensionals. My fingers, I think, are too big. So I always use the piercing end of my Take Your Pick tool. And it also, I can grab all of the backings and keep them in one spot. Okay, I'm going to put that down like that. And then I have a little tiny bit of linen thread on the roll. So I'm just going to tie a little bow with my linen thread if I can. There we go. Oopsie. There we go. Okay, don't want it that big. I might leave the, let's see. Okay, I'm going to use a glue dot for that. So take and put my bow on the glue dot. Take the backings off of there and then use my Take Your Pick tool to grab that bow. And I'm just going to put the bow up above like that. And let's trim these tails just a little bit. Still a bit longer. There we go. Oh gosh. I think there's, you start cutting off and it's kind of a never-ending thing. All right, and then I've got a piece of basic white, and then I have a piece of the Designer Series paper that I cut off of this piece that's 3/4 inch by 4, so it's perfect to go on the bottom of the inside of the card. Okay, and the last thing, of course, we can't not add embellishments. And there they are. These are the pecan, what are they called? Pecan Pie and clear ribboned adhesive back dots. It's hard to see, but there actually is kind of little lines that run through it, which is, I guess, why they call it ribboned. And so they're hard to get off, I found, so I'm going to use the Pecan Pie ones. I think my fingers actually would work better, but come on. They don't want to come off of here. There we go. So let's take there. Okay, so that is my card using the Frosted Forest bundle with the decorative masks. Now, I did not stamp the tree, so that's another way. I didn't say that as I was doing it. You can, after you, either before, although I find it easier to stamp afterwards, you can actually stamp the outline image if you want to. But I didn't do that because it looks like a really cool tree even without that stamp. But if you wanted to, you can actually stamp these large images after you have done your masking. So just thought I should tell you that. As I looked at my card and realized I didn't mention that I hadn't used anything, any stamp from the stamp set other than the sentiment. All right, everybody, I hope you have a great day. Again, if you're interested in the Frosted Forest, we call it Triple Your Creativity. club that starts in September. Let me know if you live in Canada. If you're in the United States and are interested in it, I can put you in touch with Lorraine, and she can help you out. So that again starts in September, and payment and registration is due by the end of August. All right, thanks for joining me, everyone. Hope you have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow at 12. Happy stamping. Bye.